Welcome to The Big Deal. I'm Tim Boyum, political anchor at Spectrum News, in for Errol Lewis. We launched this program last year to focus on the biggest deal that there is in America, the future of our country. With a new administration and a new Congress, we will cover the new people, policies, and politics that are shaping the nation. President Donald Trump has officially been in office more than a month now, and the big deal this week was the rising political tensions between the United States and Ukraine as the Ukraine-Russia war hits its third year. Welcome into another edition of Front Porch Politics, the show that puts politics back into our communities. I'm Tim Boyum. It was 5 years ago this month that COVID struck and changed all of our lives forever. It filled up hospitals like this one behind me and around the world. 5 years later, we have an exclusive, a behind-the-scenes look with a woman that led North Carolina through the pandemic. We're going to take her back for the first time since the pandemic to the place where she worked every single day and held all those news conferences. It's good to see you in person.
It might seem odd to start a story with the end of an interview.
We can shake hands.
I know.
It might seem odd to remark how we can shake hands.
We were all scared.
Then again, nothing is normal about the tale we're about to tell.
Coming out the other side of it, I'm not sure how I made it through, to be honest.
5 years after COVID hit, 5 years after masks, vaccines, and stay-at-home orders.
Roy Cooper, open North Carolina back up.
I think it was December of 2020 where I had some protesters at our home.
And 5 years after all those news conferences.
Good morning. I'm Mandy Cohen. I'm the Secretary of North Carolina's Department of Health and Human Services.
The woman who led the state through it returns for one of the first times since.
So probably December 2021 was the last time I was here.
A place she spent nearly every day for nearly 2 years.
I don't know how we did that many press conferences in a row.
And there is Governor Stein, he's speaking right now. That is North Carolina's new governor. He's speaking to the president, and Melania Trump is, the first lady is right between them there. So they are having this conversation, and that is Michael Whatley, that is just to the left of the president of the United States. He is the RNC chairman and a North Carolina native. He was chair of the North Carolina Republican Party before he got elevated and elected and chosen by the president to be head of the National Republican Party. And so one wishes they could be a part of this conversation here. They are not fans of each other. However, North Carolina has great needs with what is going on in Western North Carolina.
The sounds of Amazing Grace ringing from the historic Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston. A hymn about redemption and forgiveness. A song sang by President Barack Obama at a funeral in Charleston 10 years ago.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
But finding forgiveness even 10 years after a white nationalist killed 9 people in the basement of this black church, easier said than done.
I thought the last thing we needed to do was forgive him for committing the worst hate crime in U.S. history at that time.
It's okay for you, if you don't get to that point. I pray you do.
The Emmanuel 9, 10 years later, looks back at what happened through the eyes of a victim's brother.
She would have said that the attack was really not against her, but against a race of people.
And the pastor who answered the call to help heal.
So the first sermon was from Psalm 23. And I remember at the tail end, it wasn't a long sermon, I just said at the tail end, I said, I don't know how to lead you. I said, but God does.
We examine their thoughts on the issue of race a decade later.
I'm gravely concerned because it seems as if there used to be other folks, voices in the wilderness crying out. I don't hear those voices that much anymore.
The complicated past, present, and future of Charleston.
And because of that same history of race and discrimination and hatred, and the same thing that drove me away brought me back, which was to deal with the death of my sister, and that occurred here at this historic church based on race and hatred and discrimination.
And the idea of forgiveness and grace, a word still ringing 10 years later. But those still here, still feeling the loss, remain focused on how they lived, not how they died.
Her memory is everywhere, and I miss her.
This is the Emmanuel 9, 10 years later.
There's a little insight into what the day is going to be like, and this looks like it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Even in the Albuquerque dark sky, the glow of a show greeted us not long after a 3 a.m. wake-up call. The International Balloon Fiesta brings in some 600 balloons from 16 countries and draws a crowd of some 800,000 over 9 days.
Now we're rocking and rolling.
We plan to spend the morning talking to the crowd about America and the election.
We got one right there.
But an opportunity to rise above the politics of today was too hard to pass up.
Okay, now we can go.
So, away we went.
Keep it nice and slow getting out here because we're the only ones going east.
This was my first trip in an air balloon.
All this congestion, right? You got to really pay attention.
Seemingly within minutes, we were sky high.
We're almost at the altitude in which they pressurize airplanes.
Moments later, we reached our cruising altitude.
Above the ground, we are at about almost 3,000 feet.
Our pilot today, Mark Yoakum.
And this is your first flight ever?
That's right. Yeah, I watched a YouTube video last night. Yeah.
He's joking, we think. He's been ballooning for 5 years and a pilot for 2 years and flies nearly every weekend.
8,300 at a 237 at 10 knots.
I like unique interviews, so why not have a career first, interviewing someone about politics at 3,000 feet in a basket?
How would you classify the mood of America? It's probably as divisive as it's been since I've been alive. And it's tragic. It's tragic, even within our own community. People around here just don't talk politics anymore, and honest discussions are a lot harder to come by. And it's almost for me, it's almost a fear. You know, you bring up something, and if it's not in line with whoever you're talking to, they can snap at you.
Yoakum's lived in Albuquerque for 28 years. Like many we've met on this journey, he's less focused on specific issues and more on people.
I look for people and bonds and anything that's going to help the community at large. And if people spent more time thinking about their neighbors and what's best for the community, even if that means something you want, you can't have, that's better for our communities that way. So.
Are you kind of mad at me that it's a beautiful Sunday morning and you're going out for a ride and I'm talking to you about politics?
No, I'm not mad. I knew what I was getting into.
With that, it was time to avoid the urge to crack a joke about politics and hot air and make our way back to the ground. By the way, this is a good time to give a quick shout out to the man behind the camera, John Stamp, my co-pilot and producer on this trip. As we slowly dropped and dipped down to the Rio Grande River, final instructions were given.
Hold on to the tank rims or the handles on the inside. Okay. I'm going to have you bend your knees a little bit.
It's so smooth and Yoakum's skill evident, we barely realize we're landing until it happens in a matter of seconds.
Jump on, everybody, jump on.
We were greeted with a surprise back at Fiesta Park. A ceremony for first-timers that ends with an Irish balloon toast.
The winds have welcomed you with softness. The sun has blessed you with his warm hands. You've flown so high and so well that God has joined you in laughter and set you gently back to the loving arms of Mother Earth. Cheers. Thank you, Tim.